Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you today with an article from the Daily Wire. This is dated May 21st. It says, Bombshell. Report lays out how Biden covered up deadly side effects of COVID vaccine, because of course he did. It says the Biden administration violated the inviolable principle of informed consent, Senator Ron Johnson said. And here's an old picture of Joe Biden getting the vaccine. And given what we know now about him, I mean, should he even have been getting that? I'm going to say hello to the community note thingy that's probably going to pop up on this video because of this, but how much of this have you actually heard in the mainstream media? It says the Biden administration was aware of potentially deadly side effects associated with COVID vaccines and chose not to alert the public about the risks for months, according to a bombshell Senate report obtained by the Daily Wire. According to the report from the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations, officials knew as early as February 2021 that the vaccines were associated with myocarditis, that's inflammation of the heart muscle, and pericarditis, which is inflammation of the thin sac surrounding the heart. So still, they waited to warn the public until June as they pushed the vaccine, on Americans. Got the hiccups. It says, oh, this is not going to be a very long article. Oh, no, it is. Okay, I thought that was the end, or to read the full report. Says the report concludes that U.S. health officials knew about the risks of myocarditis, downplayed the health concern, and deliberately delayed informing the public about the risk. Senator Ron Johnson, Republican of Wisconsin, who chairs the committee and will lead a hearing on it later this afternoon, which is not this afternoon from when you're listening to it, but the date of the article, told the Daily Wire that Biden officials delaying reporting the side effects because they were concerned about vaccine hesitancy. Well, there already was that because we were already starting to hear things. By the time, because I got the first two shots, and by even the time I got the second one, which I think was in May of, was it 2020? Yeah, 2020. You were already hearing things about people dying suddenly and stuff, and I just went, yeah, I'm not getting another one. I'm done. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things like they're going to try to, deny what you can see with our own two eyes or read with our two eyes. Says, but in being concerned about that, they violated the inviolable principle of informed consent, Johnson said. And here's the actual report itself that you can go through on your own time. We are not going to do that now. Otherwise, this video would be multiple hours long, and I'm not doing that to you. Says the federal government was very aware of the myocarditis signal, particularly in young men, as early as February 2021, Johnson told the Daily Wire, adding that Israeli officials were informing the United States about side effects they were noticing. And I heard about that as well. I remember hearing that there were Israeli officials saying stuff, and nothing ever came of that. Says in late February, a CDC official named Lori Markowitz, who co-led the Vaccine Safety Technical Work Group, or called VAST, sent an email concerning the draft minutes and summary report from the VAST call this week and stressed that all VAST documents and communications are confidential. According to that email, the call included an update about nearly 1,000 death reports to VAERS following vaccination. Notably, the email said that in the cases where the cause of death was known, it was often cardiovascular. Says there have been 19,536 VAERS reports. Says Moderna, 7,092, Pfizer, BioNTech, 12,444, including 1,287 reports of COVID-19 disease after vaccination and 980 death reports to VAERS. Of the death reports, 470, that is nearly half, were from long-term care facilities, where known the cause of death was often cardiovascular. Says Israel ruled out vaccinations quicker than the United States, so Israeli health officials saw adverse effects sooner. As the report states that the Israeli Ministry of Health notified Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC of course, officials of large reports of myocarditis, particularly in young people, following the administration of the Pfizer vaccine. Says Johnson said the report, failure to warn how federal health agencies downplayed the risk of myocarditis and other adverse events following COVID-19 vaccination, documents this apparent cover-up in over 2,400 pages of attachments, which largely derive from Freedom of Information or FOIA requests. Because for a number of months, they were talking about these things. At some point in time, they actually internally said, is there a signal of myocarditis, a safety signal? And the answer was yes, Johnson explained. And yet, a couple of days later, they decided not to issue a warning on the Health Alert Network, or HAN. Because rather than provide informed consent, the federal health agencies, the Biden administration, covered it up, Johnson charged. They downplayed the signals. As the report notes that the Biden White House distributed talking points to top U.S. health officials, including National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases Director Anthony Fauci, that name might sound familiar, downplaying the risk of myocarditis. It says, rather than provide the public and healthcare providers with immediate and transparent information regarding the risk of myocarditis following mRNA COVID-19 vaccination, the Biden administration waited until late June 2021 to announce changes to the labels for the Moderna and Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines based on the suggested increased risks of myocarditis and pericarditis. Even though CDC and FDA officials were well aware of the risk of myocarditis following COVID-19 vaccination, the Biden administration opted to withhold, issuing a formal warning to the public for months about the safety concerns, jeopardizing the health of young Americans. It says an executive summary of the report notes that Johnson's committee was effectively stonewalled by the Biden administration when requesting documents seeking transparency. I am not surprised. As under the Trump administration, that changed. Yes, because Trump's not trying not to hide anything, as a matter of fact. It says now, under a new administration and a new HHS secretary, so thank you, RFK, HHS is beginning to produce records pursuant to the chairman's subpoena that should have been provided years ago without redactions to Congress and the public, the report said. Well, first of all, I don't understand, like, how those, the companies who got immunity in case something went wrong, can still have that. I mean, they killed people. Like, they need to do something about getting rid of that immunity or whatever. I don't know if that can even be done. I'm not a lawyer or anything, but that's just awful that this happened. But there you go. You didn't know. Sorry, I had a thing in my throat. You didn't know anything about it. Now you do. So there you go. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.